Gareth John. I'm a delivery executive at Capgemini.
And I'm Albert James, Chief Architect and Technical Capability Lead for Capgemini Australia and New Zealand.
I'm Wong, Technical Architect at Capgemini as well.
So today we talked about DevOps, how to achieve DevOps and give value back to the business using Salesforce DX, version control, CI/CD, automated testing, and some other technologies commonly associated with DevOps.
We talked about what the overall business objectives were and the outcomes that were achieved from that around time to market, reducing overall risk, lowering your costs through automation, and with benefits realized around efficiencies or productivity, where we gave a use case with one of our clients where we implemented the product.
And I did a demo to make sure that everything that Albert and Gareth said is true.
One of the important things with DevOps is to have the right mindset. DevOps isn't a tool that you can install or a piece of software that you can buy. It's really more about a set of common principles, best practices, and a mindset that you need to adopt to achieve these things. To get a deployment to a sandbox from 4 hours to 3 minutes, we need to enable certain things like self-service, for example, developers being able to spin up their own Scratch orgs and deploy a branch of code out to that Scratch org without requesting help from a release team or from anybody else. It's about BAs and project managers being able to go into a ticket management system and see immediately what a status is of the current sprint or the current development effort without being required to email spreadsheets back and forth and ask people. Self-service is really core to achieving that dramatic decrease in the amount of time that it takes to get things done.
It's all about best practices that we need to follow from a Salesforce point of view, and also merging that with all the knowledge of DevOps and knowing how the tools would perform to be able to meet those needs.
For me, it's about the tooling is one aspect, but it rolls up to the overall delivery approach, and what that delivery approach gives for our customers and their customers is the ability to move fast, deliver regularly, and meet the competitiveness of the marketplace in a timely manner.
One of the key moments in a journey to achieving DevOps, in my view, is what I call the leap of faith that you have to take at the end of the process. It will take some time to become familiar with the tooling. It will take some time to migrate all of your existing assets into DX format, to do segregation, if you wish to do segregation, into artifacts, to stand up a CI and CD environment and get that all working. But then at the end of that whole process and journey, you'll be ready to do a deployment into production. And what that means is you're taking code and assets that are stored in version control and overriding a production environment with those. And it'll be the first time that you've done that. And so long as you're underpinned by the best practices and the core solid principles, and you've set everything up correctly, then you can have confidence that when you do that first production deployment, you won't be overriding things that perhaps the developers have changed in production since version control was copied or reverting changes back. You will know that what's in version control is what you really mean to send to production. And once you take that first leap of faith, DevOps just naturally happens after that.
Yeah, that's right. I remember the anxiety that we had for each deployment production. We had to mobilize the whole team on that particular night to perform the testing, and it was chaos. But now
Organized chaos.
It feels really good to be able to know that once you've done all the prep beforehand, and the deployment is going to happen, and you know what's you've tested is what you're going to get. So I think that's rewarding.
And this makes it repeatable, right? Once we do that the first time, we know that we can do it a second time and a third time and as many times as we wish to, over and over again. 10 times in a day if we want to. It's absolutely possible at that point. There's another principle behind DevOps, which is shift left. And That principle means that we take things that we would have normally done in the right-hand environments, such as UAT, production, staging, production, so on, and we shift them towards the left. We do them closer to development. If we have CI/CD scripting that runs in our development environments, and we use that same scripting in our SIT and UAT and staging and production, we can have a reasonable level of assurance that we've tested it thoroughly in development, and that the exact same thing will work again in our higher environments. So we find problems faster, and that gives us repeatability and predictability, which again are key principles and drivers behind implementation of DevOps.
Yeah.
It's the secure service that the business is buying, isn't it? It's the security that they know that it's going to work every time.
Yeah, and that really promotes agile development. It's really DevOps is really an accelerator that it allows us to find issues early on, and when we find it early on, we can fix it.
One of the things that I often see is people get confused in the meanings of the words DX and DevOps and CI/CD and version control, and a lot of different terminology is used to achieve DevOps. DevOps again is a state of mind at the intersection of business, technology, and QA and operations, and it's founded on those core principles. DX is a combination of technologies in Salesforce that works towards achieving many of those principles. It's a new set of tooling, the command line interface, the ability to create scratch orgs. It's a new metadata format. It really enables many of the things that customers want to do in DevOps, but it alone doesn't do them. At the same time, version control is a very critical element of a DevOps program that allows you to know when changes were made, why they were made, and who made them, and where have they been deployed to as well. And then there's other parts like a CI/CD, the ability to deploy those changes out to different test and production environments. Automated testing, code scanning that kicks off when developers check in changes. All of these things are core elements of any DevOps program, but they all don't mean the same thing. There are different aspects of it.
Most rewarding from a developer perspective, I think having that tool like DX enables them to concentrate on what they like to do, that is building and troubleshooting as well. So DX provides a means to facilitate all this for the developer, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of activities that needs to be performed by the developer that a business owner wouldn't know, and DX would be able to alleviate those tasks for them, and in that sense drive efficiency.
For me, I was quite intimate with the business case, and I don't think the client really understood what they were getting to some degree. And the first moment we did a sprint review and they saw it working end to end was like a light bulb moment. It was like, oh wow, we're really going to get this, and this is really going to be awesome for our organization. It's going to help us to do so many things, to implement so many business initiatives. That was a real light bulb moment.